Today I'm going to interview with my father, Dr. Neil Iyer, who is a management consultant. Thanks for joining me,
Thanks. Thank you for having me.
and I would like to ask you questions.
Yeah, please go ahead.
What, according to you, makes a good team and also the bad team?
Okay. Before going to that, I would like to define what is a team, right? So a person individually working doesn't make a team. So team starts from your early childhood when you work with your subordinates or the group of students in your class, right? Uh, that makes your team. You play well, you make team. So when you grow up, the team should be so good, they should be working together, not as individuals. A good team is where each one plays their own role. Everybody communicate with each other very nicely, they understand each other, they appreciate the strength and also overcome the weakness working together. So that would make a good team.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there any more questions?
Yeah, sure. How did you overcome working with someone that you didn't along with?
Okay, that goes back. Okay, that's a very tough question. We come along with people whom we don't have agreement with. So the first and the foremost thing what I used to do is to do an effective communication, to talk to the person on your views. So we may have different views or different point of opinion. So the best way to do is agree to disagree. We should be able to put across our views, and then we should move ahead because we need to do the work, right? So whenever we are getting some confrontations, the best way to overcome is to communicate with each other what our point of views is, and then the best point of view goes forward, whether you are right or wrong.
Okay. Here's the next question. What are some effective ways to communicate with a team?
So when we talk about the team, the most effective way to communicate is to have a daily sync up. That's the we call it as a stand-up meeting. We should have a stand-up meeting in which 5 minutes, 10 minutes, based on the strength of the team, we need to communicate with each other, talk to each other, and take a daily dose of the work, dossier of the work, what the people are doing to understand from the team, hear from the team. And in that manner, every team member would also understand what others are doing, and they would be able to uh, fill the gaps if any dependencies are there. So the most important thing is to have a morning call. We call it as a stand-up call. The second important thing is to have a feedback session. So this I call it as a 360-degree appraisal. So we need to have in understanding what the team thinks about you. That's most important thing. It is not only you thinking about the team, it's about the team thinks about you. You can call it as an open door policy. Anybody can walk into your cabin and tell you whatever is required. There should be open door policy or a 360 degree. That's the second important thing. The third and the most important thing is uh, you need to communicate to the team and give them regular feedbacks, which is very much required, rather than appraising the team at the end of the year on their confidential report telling that you have not performed well because of these reasons. Because the team themselves may not be knowing that they are not doing the right way. So we need to first of all communicate with the team in an effective way and in a positive manner. So how that can happen? You need to define the roles and responsibilities of each of the team members. So once that roles and responsibilities are mentioned very clearly, we need to have a feedback session every say every month, or if it is possible every 15 days, or if that's not possible, it's a big team, maybe at least in quarter, 4 times at least a feedback session need to be done with the team members and understand what do they need. The next point is the training. You need to have the you need to understand the aptitude, and based on that the roles and responsibilities are done. But there are cases in which the more work comes in and which demands for an extra leg to be worked on, and there are people who are ready to do that extra mile, so we may need to give training to them. Certifications, those things and all will help, according to me.
Okay. Here's the last question. What are some tips that your teams need to work on their efficiencies?
What are the tips? I have almost covered all the things, but the which is coming to my mind now uh, is uh, the life is a learning curve. Life is complete of learnings. So I would tell that every team member, it is not only a team, it is the every person who is working need to be well educated of what is happening. Whether you call it as cloud computing, or whether you call it as AWS, or whether you call it as neural networks or drones or anything, people need to be up to date. It's not reading a book which is written 20 years back. It is to keep yourself up to date. That is the prime important thing which everyone, whether it is a teacher, whether it is a professional, whether it is an advocate, whether it is a doctor, any profession, whether it's a student or a scholar, everybody need to be up to date of what is happening. If that is done, then we can have a successful team.
Right. Thanks for interviewing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.